sir. We are so honored to have you here with us.
Same
How are
here.
you?
I'm good. I'm good.
So, sir, we would really like to know who the real Shubha Vilas is.
What would you like to know about me?
Sir, your story, your experiences about you.
So I was born in a very small town in India called Kanchipuram. It's a holy place. It's also a sari town of India,
Okay.
in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
But I grew up most of my life in Goa.
Okay.
I did till the end of my engineering. I did in Goa, and then post that I studied law, specializing in patent law in Bangalore. So while I was studying, I also was working in an international law firm there. And post that, I joined as a monk in a monastery for almost 12 years. I lived in temple with literally nothing, and studied the scriptures very intensely. Lived a very simple life. Had no bank account, had absolutely no possession, and but I gained a lot of wealth, the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of experiences of deeper aspects of life.
And also about spirituality as well.
Yeah. So while I was in the monastery, that's where I began writing, and that's where I began traveling around the world and speaking and sharing my knowledge with people. So and then I felt that I should share this knowledge that I have gained with the world. Then I started traveling a lot and speaking in various forums, almost every big company in the world, whether it is Microsoft, Google, Amazon, one of the biggest companies in the world. I've spoken at their world headquarters, spoken at MIT in Boston. I've spoken at almost all the IITs in India, as well as I'm a visiting faculty in many of the IIMs also. So I have, I teach in NMIMS, I teach for the Indian Chartered Accountants Association, and many other things. In addition to that, I write books. I feel very strongly that the knowledge that the scriptures hold have a very strong and immediate relevance to people today. And I felt that through the medium of writing, it can really open up a lot of people's hearts towards ancient wisdom.
Okay, that is so great to hear, sir. So now let's talk about your book, Magic of Friendship. Understand it, cherish it, and keep it. So your book, Magic of Friendship, impart the lessons of the perfect bond of friendship. Have you ever felt an ideal friend in your life? Have you ever found an ideal friend in your life?
I have many, many wonderful friends.
Okay.
One of my longest lasting friendships is my school friends. I, in fact, begin that book by talking about that friendship. Interestingly, when the book launched, last year, we were celebrating our 25th year of friendship together.
Oh my God.
Right from my 8th standard onwards, we have been the best of friends. Not one, two of them, and we have ever since stayed in touch and been very closely connected to each other, respecting our, whatever we're doing, but yet at the same time sharing a very, very close bond.
That is so great, sir. So after completion of your education, why did you choose the path of spirituality? What made you take this big step?
I felt that the path of taking, the entire world is living a life of taking, right? We take so much from society, we take so much from the world, we take so much from people. I felt that there is greater joy in the path of giving than in the path of taking. So I wanted to really explore what it means to live a life of giving and what it means to live a life of being selfless, living for the sake of others. I found great satisfaction in that. That is the reason I decided to explore the path of spirituality, give me an opportunity to live a selfless life and think about others.
Okay, sir. So in today's world, the meaning of real friendship is way more different than it used to be in ancient times, like Krishna and Draupadi's friendship in Mahabharata. Tell us something about this notion, about this saying that it is really different than what it used to be in ancient times.
In my understanding, friendship now has become more superficial than in the past. I can see it in our own generations, the generation in which we grew up. I found that there was greater depth and connections. And when I interact with youngsters today, the depth of connections that they have is so superficial. I've been doing hundreds of seminars on workshops on friendship for teenagers and for young adults. And I find them speaking about their problems and their struggles with friendship. And their struggles are at such a basic level, actually. And to the extent that many of them haven't even formed a very strong bond. There is so much suspicion, there is so much of competition, jealousy.
Yeah, jealousy, yeah. Okay.
And a lot of them just struggle with even having one friend that they can trust completely. And even if they get that one friend, after some time that person starts behaving in a specific way, and then the friendship goes away.
Yes.
So
yes,
what I find the difference between the past and the present, of course, the past, when we go back to 5,000 years before, when you look at the friendship of Krishna and Draupadi, Krishna and Arjuna, and so many of the great personalities, Krishna, Sudama,
yes, sir.
Find very strong depth in the friendship. But remember, even at that time, superficial friendships did exist. Like Drupad and Drona, they just couldn't get along in the Mahabharata.
Yes, sir. Yes.
A major clash. So it's not that now only superficial friendships exist, and in the past they were only good friendships. It was always there at both the times. But the reality today is that because of the way in which our society is functioning, we seem to be having more superficial relationships today than deeper ones. But at the same time, if people simply are told the importance of having deep friendships and also guided on how to develop deep friendships, people will be happy, and in fact they're looking forward to have deep friendships, right? The very fact that social network is so prevalent. Why is it so prevalent? Because everyone is looking for a good friend. That's all. But the only problem is that people don't know how to make good friends. That's why I thought I'll write a guidebook on how to make good friends and sustain them.
I actually feel like in today's world, it is not a selfless love, but it is a selfish love, and it is not unconditional. I feel like this, that we need to have that one friend which we can love unconditionally without expecting anything in return, right? And it
Absolutely.
is yes. So, sir, how much time did you spend writing this book?
I spent about 1.5 months writing this book, but my research has been for quite some time. So it's not easy to write a book on a deep subject matter without having experienced it yourself,
yes,
and without having studied it yourself. So I have been studying it from a realistic point of view, because I deal with people's, I counsel people all the time, day in and day out. So I'm seeing challenges in relationships. I'm seeing challenges in all kinds of friendships, and also my own journey of friendships have been for so many years that I have kept and managed to sustain friendships. So all that put together, and plus my study of the scriptures put together, that helped me write the book. I physically wrote it in 1.5 months, but that's not exactly what it takes to write a book like that.
Okay, sir. And why did you choose the concept of friendship in the first place?
So I did a survey of a few thousand youngsters.
Okay.
And I tried to find out what is the key things they are struggling with. And in my survey of talking to thousands of youngsters to find out what exactly they're struggling with, one of the most powerful things, one of the first things that came up is friendship. So I thought I should begin by writing a book on friendship.
Okay.
And if you actually look at it, from a realistic point of view, almost all the biggest struggles of youngsters, in fact, all the bad habits, whether it is drugs, whether it is smoking, drinking, whether it is, kinds of self-abusive habits, are all connected to friendship, including things like obesity. They're all directly or indirectly connected to friendship.
Okay, sir. Peer pressure, you can say.
Exactly. Yeah. People make their career choices based on friendships.
Yes,
right?
sir. I agree. I completely agree, sir. So, how does the emergence of the digital world change friendships and relationships? Is it true that we all lose the essence of heart connections from each other?
The digital world makes it easy to access people, but it also makes it complicated in a way, in a sense that when you are connected with someone just over the phone, it's easy to block a person and that person can't do anything.
Yes, sir.
So many relationships go through so much complication simply because one person has control over the gadget, over the way you access that person. That's not how human beings work, right?
Yes, sir.
When you have real relationships in this world, if somebody is angry at you, stop speaking to you. But you can still approach the person and talk to the person and convince the person that that you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But when somebody
Yes.
talks to you, how do you even convince, right?
Yeah.
So the digital world does give you access to people from around the world that you can connect with, but it also gives you control. In relationships, control doesn't work, and it should not be used as much. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A relationship, if you try to control, those relationships go wrong eventually.
Yes, sir.
So it's important to have control is in both sides rather than one side, and also the relationship is much more open to debates, discussions, even misunderstanding friends, because every conflict helps you understand one another better.
Yes.
So most people today are used to running away from conflicts, running away from differences. The moment there is a difference, they just leave the friend. That's it. Over.
From a difficult conversation. Yes, sir. But for me, it makes your connection healthy, more healthy than toxic. So I agree with you, sir.
It does. See, everything has a good and bad side.
Yes.
Just like a knife has a good side and a bad side. It can be used for cutting vegetables, cutting
Yes,
fruits,
sir.
it can be used for cutting somebody's throat. So nothing in this world is absolutely good or absolutely bad. It depends on how it is used and depends on the intention with which it is used.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir, we are done with the questions. It is so nice to have you here with us.